All right. So, yeah. What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of Tech with a Comrade. Over here, I have Rodney Boachie, who is an enterprise backend engineer with loads of experience in the industry, and he's here with us today to talk about tech compensations and everything that has to do with um, money negotiating offers in tech. So, Ace, why don't you go ahead and tell us about yourself, man?
Yeah. Basically, I'm a software hustler, so I just go by the day. I try to be a contractor and there just to get daily food. So that's my main hustle aside the other side things that I do. And I'm privileged to be speaking here today. Yeah.
All right. So on your LinkedIn profile, I saw this interesting thing. You wrote that you are an enterprise backend engineer. How different is that from, people who just have like backend engineers on their profile?
Okay. So enterprise backend engineer. It just it just means that working on companies with big budgets. That's all.
When you say big budgets, you mean like they have lots of money?
Yes, they are working on mission critical applications and it's things which are, I mean, they have a high budget for things. So, yeah.
Okay. Okay. So tell me about like your experience working at this big tech companies, because like I personally haven't worked in too many big tech companies. They are mostly startups
Okay.
trying to find their feet. So just kind of tell me what's uh that experience looks like.
Oh, okay. So basically, so currently I'm with one multi-billion dollar company, and what I'm working on primarily is just weather data. So I'm just getting data, the data that is fed to, I mean, airlines all over the world. I have the privilege to be working on that. So just to make sure that it's delivered according to time and when it's necessary. So that's one of the things I'm working on. Yeah.
Okay, so how did you find yourself getting into that role? Since like I've known you, you've lived in Ghana for quite a while. Like, how did you find yourself in that position where you're working with a big tech company that's dealing with like flight data and like airlines and all that stuff?
Yeah. So I would say it didn't just start right on, then I had opportunities like this. So I remember how many years ago? This was somewhere in 2014. I
Hmm.
remember together with a couple of my friends, that was Patrick and Wanya. We tried to get some remote roles here and there, and then we realized that there was a huge knowledge gap. It was terrible because immediately we tried getting in the questions that came in. I mean, it showed us that yes, we were developing software, but we were really not there yet. And so it had to take a lot of introspection and then get to see what they required. And we went back in, and I would say that now we had much more experience and knew what they expected. And we were able to get in some exciting roles here and there. Yeah.
Just to get a bit of clarity, you mentioned that you guys weren't there yet. Like, what did you mean by that?
Yeah, so I remember back in the days we were just developing software. All we knew, you see, when you're in Ghana, normally once the software is working, that's all the requirements that we are looking for. It's working, done. There's nothing like even something as basic as let's say TDD, whatever. I mean, it's not required here. What we are looking for is the thing done? Is it working? As to whether it's efficient, whatever, nobody really cares. And so what happens
Okay.
is if you've not had certain exposure, then you would think you are really there. But it's when you start, I mean, applying to companies like these, then it shows you that oh, you are not really there as you think. And so you need to take time and then ramp up. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that's clear now. But like, at what point did you say to yourself that okay, I think I can apply into these roles, and I know that they are going to take me, and like how were you very confident in yourself to apply for these roles? Like,
Yeah, so it gets to a point. You see, you develop software to a point, and at a point when you start, you are basically learning. Now it gets to a point you feel you've advanced, and you want a bigger budget. It's not like the company that you are with is bad. They are good. They've been tremendous, but you've just got to the point where you want to, I mean, move up. You
Mhm.
at a point, it's not about just getting basic money. You want to, I mean, go beyond that. And I'm one person who doesn't believe in all that. I mean, we are very hypocritical in the industry. We behave as if it's not about the money. For me,
Mhm.
it's about the money. From where I am now, it's about the money. I'm going to create, I mean, value for you. So I need to make sure that you're also going to pay me well. It's a business transaction. I need to
Exactly.
give you value. If I'm not giving you value, I don't see why I should be there. So if I'm
Exactly.
giving you value, I expect to be paid and paid well. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I think you mentioned some key components in the statement you just made. You mentioned that adding value, and then you also mentioned that some people tend to make tech seem like they are really not in it because of their money. And I think since I've been following your Twitter profile, like you've always been, I think most of the time on Twitter, if I see your tweets, they are mostly about money and like getting the best out of like a tech offer and just being like conscious about the money you are making. So like when you talk about
Yeah.
you adding value, like what exactly do you mean? Because I'm writing code. How do I know I'm adding value?
Yes. So, for instance, if let's say in this current company, I need to, let's say if I've been with this company for the past 6 months, I need to be able to document. Okay, since
Mhm.
I came and up till now, what have I added? Have I been able to impact according to their revenue stream? Have I been able to impact according to, let's say, a system that they were having, and now it's less tedious compared to previously. So you should be able to, I mean, quantify whatever that you have done, and that's the value that you've added to the company basically. So let's say they're making a revenue of, let's say, $1 million, and you had opportunity to come in, and now they are making, let's say, $10 million as a result of passing through with the work that you probably did recently. So you can say that you've, I mean, increased your return on investment. So that's a direct value there. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let me just take us back a bit. Your how you got into this big firm that deals with flight data. Like, what was the interview process like, and like, how did you know that was the best role that you were looking for? Because like, I think you are still in that role.
Yeah. Yeah.
At this, at this time of the day. So like
Yes.
what was the interview process like? And like I just wanted to focus it around like compensation and how you knew it was a perfect fit for you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So for me, well, normally before I start any negotiation, I don't throw in money from the start. So I remember when they were asking how much I was looking at, and then I was like, I don't know if we are going to be a fit for each other in the first place. So it's not necessary. I like money, but that's not the main focus here. We need to make sure that we are going to be a fit for each other. So I know they are going to be fair to me, so I wouldn't want to talk about the money aspect at that moment. So once we go through the interview process and we become a fit for each other, then we can talk about the money. So we just went on. I mean, it was some processes here and there, and I mean, I had to solve some questions here and there, and then after that, it was the second or third. I think it was after the third interview. I was supposed to go for the fourth and fifth, and it didn't
Mhm.
even happen again. I had opportunity to get hired right there after the third one, so they didn't. It was not necessary to go through the other processes. Yeah.
Mhm.
So
So
it
they
was
had,
after I
yeah,
had.
go on.
I'm listening.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so it was after that they gave the offer, and then I mean it was just some small negotiation here and then. I think it was okay. It was okay for me. Yeah.
Okay. So they had a five-step interview. Throughout that interview process, was it just they being sure that you can write code, like giving you those lead code and hacker rank, or like it was a mix of like let's say code traffic and all that stuff? Like, what did that process look like?
Yeah, so the first step was some small, I would say some small algorithm challenge. And after I finished that, then I went to the second one. That was the hiring manager. So it was after speaking with the hiring manager that he decided that okay, it's okay for now. There's no need for the fourth and fifth and the okay. Yeah.
So at what point in the interview process did like the conversation about compensation, money, and like what basically
So
they
it
are
was
offering you?
after.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was after the whole process. So it was when the offer came. So they
Okay,
made
so
first offer. And then I
mhm.
just said, oh, I will need something small in addition. I mean, I think it was about 10%. Yeah, just 10%. Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
they just granted it.
mhm. I'm just thinking of this like as a software engineer and I'm applying to a role. So let's say I aced my hacker rank and like they absolutely now believe that I'm a software engineer and not just like someone in disguise because they were able to write a hello world program and it's compiled. So
And
like
it compiled, yeah.
exactly now the next thing I'm thinking on my mind is like I'm expecting the conversation about money and compensation to come up so that I can so that we can have that conversation. And if I can negotiate, I can negotiate. So I'm just trying to get like your hiring manager did they just tell you okay we were going to get back to you with an offer and then they sent it and then let's say if you did follow up with like okay I think this is not enough for me, like how did that whole process happen?
Okay, let me give you another one that I was with, which
Hmm.
let me give you a previous one, how that one went. So that one, it was, I mean, some back and forth here and there. I mean, we passed through all the technical interview and whatever. I remember they wanted me to quote, and then I also went through the same route. I didn't just quote any amount. So they just came back, and finally when we were fit for each other, I mean, now it got to compensation stage. Now they were asking me how much do I want, and I said, okay, I believe it's going to be fair, so I want to see the offer first. So first of all, the first thing you need to remember is whoever drops the number first loses the negotiation. I mean, I've also dropped numbers first in the past, and I mean, I've learned my lessons. Whoever drops their number first loses the negotiation. So I just waited for the offer to come first. After looking at the offer, and I came back and then also explained why I believe I deserve X, Y, Z. And yeah, that's how it works. And then it has been working for me. Yeah.
And then I think I there was this link you shared in your tweet. I'll make sure I add that link to this video
All right.
where there were some tips listed there in there about negotiating tech offers and like things you should look out for. And then I read one thing that was like most big tech companies have like base salary bands for like the roles they are hiring for. And then say I'm getting into a role since like these big tech companies already have like a base, like how do I manage to get like how do I get something that isn't like cause like clearly they already have like clearly defined bands for like everyone. So let's say I
Okay.
wanted more, like what would that conversation look like?
Okay. So with what they've given you, now you want to negotiate for more, right?
Yeah, let's say I'm applying to a company like Sendwave, and
All
then
right.
I'm going in as a junior engineer, and then let's say they have a band for junior engineers that junior engineers in this company are paid, let's say $5,000 US dollars. And let's say
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
mind, what I think would make me happy in this job, it's let's say $6K. Like how do I get the conversation started to eventually get to the point where they
Okay.
will think that giving me 6K is like uh is reasonable. Like how do I get the
It's
interview to that
reasonable. All right. All
stage?
right.
Yeah.
So yeah. So with this scenario you just gave, let's say I'm a junior engineer and I'm in Sendwave now, and I mean they share their salary band with you right before you go through the process. So
Hmm.
now they give you this is the band that you can be in, but you believe you are worth more, right? So now
Hmm.
the main thing, what can help you to negotiate is your leverage. Now ask yourself, did you perform at your optimum peak during the interview?
Hmm.
If you performed at your optimum peak, then It means you have more leverage to request for more. The Here's the case where you see in some interviews you can mess up. I mean, it's normal.
Mhm.
You just go into the interview, you realize I mean, you got the role, but you see that you really
Exactly.
messed up. You were not at your peak. You know your peak,
Mhm.
so you know you were not at your
Yeah.
peak.
Yeah.
But if you knew you were at your peak, I mean, that's a good thing for you, because now if you come back and then you are making a reasonable uh, request, most likely
Mhm.
they don't want to lose you, because I mean the process is quite laborious and tiring, and they wouldn't
Exactly.
want to go through that to get another person. So
Yeah.
far as it's reasonable, there's a high chance that you are going to get what you're looking for. Yeah.
Okay. So to put that in perspective, you mean throughout the interview process, I mean right from the point where we start the interview, like the negotiation has already started. I, as the engineer, I have to be consciously building leverage, proving to the people that, hey, I am really valuable and I would make a great addition to your team, so that like you have the upper hand in the conversation, so that eventually you can
Yes.
make your needs, you can table your needs, and then they see a reason to grant you those. That's it, right?
Yeah, perfect. That's perfect. Because you see, aside just the technical interview, I mean, during the technical conversations here and there, I mean, your experience you have in the past, if you've been able to highlight it to them, they can see how it fits into their business case, because your past experience is going to come in really handy with what they are working on. So
Mhm.
it means once you come on board, they can see the value that you are bringing on board. You've been able to convey it to them. So in that case, you are practically valuable to them in that instance. So if you are making a reasonable, I mean, request, most likely you are going to get it.
Okay. So I want us to talk more about creating the leverage, because once we are able to get that, like we can build on that. So basically, as an engineer, like how do I build like enough leverage? Is this just based off me being able to solve like three hackathons in the interview within like the shortest possible time? Like, are there any other ways I can build leverage that
Yeah,
would
yeah,
prove
yeah.
to the people that
I
I
don't
am
think it's
valuable?
just Yeah, I don't think it's just about, I mean,
Mm-hmm,
algorithm, because if it was just about algorithmic challenges, you see, sometimes you can just mess up in some of these algorithmic challenges.
mm-hmm,
You realize, I mean, you couldn't solve it, or for some, like there could be various reasons why you messed up. But you see, in your discussion with whoever the hiring manager, so
mm-hmm,
for instance, they throw you a typical work scenario of a technical challenge, and then you give them a reference on how you have solved something similar, and the
mm-hmm,
process that you went through to solve that. For instance, let's say it's an auto scaling issue, or maybe there was an upsurge in requests which came in into your, let's say, microservice or whatever, and how were you able to make the incoming requests, which were plenty, how were you able to meet the demand in a short period of time? And then maybe you show that, oh, okay, I used, let's say, Kubernetes in the past, and maybe
mm-hmm.
there's an auto scaling option there that I just added as a flag or whatever. And when we did that, I remember, let's say, during a hike in December on Black Friday, there was a huge surge in demand, and so we were able to get instances which were able to cater for the load. And after that, it came down. I mean, this is someone who has like the experience you are looking for. It's not just about only hacker rank. I mean, hacker rank is
Yeah.
cool, but at the end of the day, practical experience also. So being able to convey your the experience that you've had in the past to them is
Mhm.
also a major deciding factor. I mean, some
Okay.
companies, no matter what you do, the only thing they care about is your algorithmic, I mean, prowess. If you don't have that, you're not going to get hired. So you should know the company too you are dealing with. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So you seem to have like loads of experience working at big tech companies. I mean, like aside me knowing that at the end of my work, I'm going to be paid money into my bank account to feel good about. Like, are there any other things that could be offered in terms of like compensation, or are there any other things I could look out for aside the money?
Yeah, I think like someone said, I remember someone said this. You see, peace of mind too is quite necessary. But for me, I think peace of mind is for rich people. I don't think I've reached where the level where I need peace of mind. So
Okay,
I'm not here
okay.
for peace of mind. Yeah, I'm not here for peace of mind. So anything that will help me to, I mean, grow as fast as possible is what I'm looking for. I'm not here for peace of mind, unfortunately. But in some situations, some people are looking for that. So that's them. I mean, for instance, some people want, let's say, they want to be able to work, let's say, 4 days a week
Mhm,
and maybe get a lower salary. I mean, that's them. So you look at what is most important for you. Some people too want, let's say, medical insurance, even if it comes at the cost of getting a lower compensation. So
mhm,
you can always negotiate. You can make some trade-offs and then still use it to get certain things. For instance, some people will also want maybe more vacation days. That's what's
mhm.
important to them. Maybe they're a family, let's say it's a family man, so he needs more days with his kid or something. So yeah, that's them.
Okay, so I could be asking for like health benefits or like vacation days or
Yes.
I think in our tech scene here in Ghana, like most people find themselves working for startups because like it's only a handful of companies that actually have very strongholds and making like steady incomes. And what do you tend to be hearing is that the startup wants to give you this amount of money and they promise you equity. Like, do you have anything to say about that? Because like these conversations keep coming up and people keep asking, is equity really worth it? Should I go in? Is it a bad deal? Like, can you say something about that?
Yeah. So for me, I think it all depends on what you consider as valuable, right?
Mhm,
So you see, if let's say you have opportunity to be working with Amazon, let's say, I don't know, has Amazon been here 20 years? And they said they were giving you, let's say 20 years ago, they said they were giving you equity, right?
mhm,
Now, do you think you would have signed up by then? You would only sign up if you believe in what they are doing, right?
mhm.
If you see that, okay, there's a high chance that in the future they are going to blow up. So you would only take it on those conditions. So personally, for me, well, I don't know if I have seen any company that I would say I believe in so much that I don't really care. So I would be working for free just to take equity. I don't believe in anybody's vision that much. So I would just say probably just give me my money. I mean, if things go well for you, that's fine. If it doesn't go, I just need to get paid. That's all. Yeah.
All right. Sounds like a really thought out process about the equity thing. Now I think sometimes on Twitter we see people write things like, okay, this company is offering this amount for like a junior engineer, and then some people express like very sad thoughts like, okay, the amount is too small, the amount is like it doesn't make sense. Like as a junior engineer coming up with barely any experience, like what's your what would you advise as an approach to like getting into these companies that aren't really offering much in terms of salary? Like, do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah. So I would say in the beginning, I don't think your focus should be on money. I remember
Hmm.
when I was starting out. I mean, I've taken some very stupid salary before. I mean,
Hmm.
if I say I haven't done that before, I'll be lying. I mean, some very stupid salary. But I remember it was not because I wanted to take it, but it was because I wanted to build experience. You get it?
Yeah.
At that point, I think I knew that what will give me leverage is experience, right? So
Hmm.
no matter what I'm taking at by then, I know that with time, it's all going to count in the future. And I was right actually. So in the beginning, I don't think your focus should be on being able to have the opportunity to work on things that really matter in the space,
Yeah.
things that you can talk about to another employer, and they are going to be what excited about what you are doing. So if you don't have that and you are thinking of money, there's a high chance you are not going to last in the system. You get
Hmm.
it. So I think
Yeah.
it's very necessary that I mean you build some experience from there. it gets to a point you can say you have some experience. I mean, you can never stop learning, but at least you have certain level of experience, so you can say, okay, at this point, my focus is on money, like the way you are focused now.
Yeah, I think earlier on in my career, one of my mentors stood. I think at that point, I almost got lost into like the whole money thing, where you feel like you are worth more than you actually
Mhm.
are, and then you begin to slap like huge price on yourself. Like, okay, if this company wants me to work for them, they have to pay me, let's say, 7,000 Ghana cedis, and then my mentor was like, well, you know what? If you actually start selling yourself very high now, you would get to a point where like your uh your perceived value will be too high that companies can actually work with you. Say I have like um 20 years of experience writing PHP. Uh I'll probably be like really valuable, and any company that would want me to work for them, obviously I'll be able to prove uh um my value to them, and they might not
Yes.
be able to afford me. So like as like you in the ecosystem with like loads of experience, how do you manage that situation where you become too valuable that like uh probably the companies within your reach wouldn't be able to pay you?
I get you. But you see,
Yeah.
as you are also looking for money, you should also be realistic.
Mhm.
You shouldn't just be slapping numbers here and there. I remember how many was it? Was it just 2 days ago? There was one guy, I'm sure he'll be watching this. He came to my DM and then he was like, I'm making about, he said, was it 200,000 CDs a month? And then I was like, wow,
That's
you
huge, man.
believe, you believe I'm making that money?
Oh, come on.
Like, you still have to be realistic. You see, you
Yeah.
don't have to get out of touch with reality. You understand? I
Mhm,
mean, you
mhm,
are working for money, but that doesn't mean you go and let's say tell a company for you this is what I mean. You are not in Silicon Valley. You are not in Silicon Valley. Like you are,
okay.
you should still be
Okay.
realistic. I don't know if you are
Yeah.
getting me. As
Yeah. Makes
you are
makes
still aiming
makes so much
high.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm,
So yeah,
hmm,
yeah, you should still be in touch with reality, although you are shooting for high things. Yeah.
mhm. I think sometime also on Twitter, there was this conversation about whether local companies should pay. No, I think it was actually foreign companies should pay according to foreign standards, or according to their local standards. So let's say I'm in Ghana now, and then I'm applying to a role that's in like Silicon Valley. Should they actually pay me, let's say, according to like living standards in Ghana, or they should pay me according to the band that they pay software engineers in Silicon Valley? Since like you have experience working at these big tech companies, like what does that look like? Do they pay
Yeah.
you according to the local standard, or like what like?
Yeah, so I would say every company has their own, they have their own formula. I mean, some
Mhm,
companies they do role based, they do location based compensation, and then some too, it doesn't matter where you are, they are paying the same compensation they are paying people in Silicon Valley is the same thing they are also paying in someone who is in Kenya, someone who is in Ghana, someone who is in wherever. So
mhm,
some are location based, some too are not location dependent. So depends on what the company is. So when you if the company has a guideline to, let's say, they pay according to the role, according to location, then most
mhm.
likely they will have a sheet that they will share with you, and then they will show you that okay, this is the range for where you live. This is what they pay in that range. So it's not you who can just, you can't just go and tell them you need to take uh, what they are paying in what they are paying in, what's the name, Silicon Valley. No, they may have a standard for you locally. So I remember there's one friend of mine who is, I mean, he's making a lot of money, like huge. Like you see that 200,000 CDs that someone was mentioning in my DM. This guy is making that
Yeah.
right here in Ghana, right?
Oh.
But me, I'm nowhere near that. But
Mhm.
like someone is making that, you get it. It's I am not there. He has had the opportunity to be with this company. They are paying not based on location. You get
Mhm.
it. So they are paying him exactly like someone who is also over there.
Yeah.
He has had the opportunity there. But in some other companies too, you won't get that. Most likely they will pay you according to your region, which is also still fine anyway. That's why I said that you need to also be realistic with your expectations. Although you are shooting
Yeah.
for more, you should also be realistic and look at what the company can offer within the range of what they can also offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I recently made a video about an offer I rejected, and like if you watch the video, it felt as if I was feeling sorry I rejected it, but like I actually don't feel sorry. And I just want to ask, like, as an engineer, if I want to optimize for like just getting more money in terms of compensation, like how do I go about that process? Like I want to optimize for getting like money. It's money I care about, and at the end of my day, at the end of my work, I just want money coming into my bank account that I'll feel very happy about. Like, how do I optimize for that?
Yes, so most likely, I think you may have to consider being a contractor over. You see, for these full-time roles, it's not
Mhm.
many a time. If you are getting a full-time, it's only a few companies who are going to pay that huge. If you are in an FTE role, but if you are in a contractor role, you could actually have more leverage and I mean get more money. But at the end of the day, with a contractor, anything can also happen to your role. It can be scrubbed off in 1 second.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
mean, you have to get onto the market again and hustle. So basically, the hustle, but I mean, you can get more as a contractor because, for instance, you can be handling two roles
Mhm.
if you are being strategic, two or even three roles. And
Yeah.
even if, imagine if you are taking, let's say, $7,000 here, you're making another
Mhm.
$6,000 here, you're
Yeah.
making, let's say, another $2,000 here.
Mhm.
I mean, you add it up, it's not bad. I mean,
That's loads of money. That's loads of money. I think someone is asking like, how many years have you been coding
yeah,
RBK?
for production experience, 8 years now. So I'm going into my ninth year. Yeah.
Oh, so you've been writing what Java? Because I checked your profile on LinkedIn and like it's like Java is the highlight of your whole profile.
I'm an Ashao programmer. It's not only Java.
Okay, okay. Really, you had to say that on the live stream. Okay, okay.
I
I
hope
just
people
hope that the,
understand that.
well, you are going to get the backlash for that. So just hope that you are able to take that. Yeah. So I think that was a nice conversation about compensation and all that stuff. I looked up your Twitter profile too, and then I saw one tweet that you pinned. It was during the COVID time. You I don't know how you felt, but like you were writing this Twitter boat. Like, what was that thing about?
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it was a bot which was recording COVID 19 COVID-19 statistics. So, for instance,
Hmm.
the updates on where it was at each point. I just saw it to be fun. So, I mean, normally when I see something to be fun, I just hop on because you can't always be chasing money. You have to do something which is
Yeah,
also quite exciting. So,
yeah,
it felt exciting to me. So I just jumped on. Yeah.
yeah. So are you an independent contractor or you are working full time for the company you were talking about?
Yeah. So I have one independent contractor and then I have one FTE. Yeah.
All right. So I'm assuming that's like loads of work and obviously more money for you. How do you find time to like do you do other things aside like work? Do you do like friends, going out to party, stuff like that? Do you make time for those things?
I cause commotion on Twitter because
Mhm.
I'm single.
Okay. 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 Okay.
So
Okay.
okay, it's just one of those things. You see, instead of just going out, sometimes instead of just going out, I mean, I can be in my room, maybe I'm watching a movie or something, and that's one way I try to unwind. I get some whiskey, good food, order some good food here and there. Yeah, and then I'll just be tweeting nonsense, and then people will just be bored, and then I'll just be living life.
Did you just say you tweet nonsense? Because like people are going to give you the backlash, just so you know.
I'm not bothered. I mean, they can interpret it however they want.
Okay. All right. All right. So you party, you drink whiskey, and you
Oh
eat junk
yeah,
food. The last time I checked, you were
a
you were
lot.
ordering KFC almost every time.
Yeah, you know how these things works. You know it. I mean, exact food we eat, how we go down. Then you try and do exercise here and there. Otherwise, I mean, before you realize your whole body will become Charlie.
Yeah, yeah. It's been a good 36 minutes having this conversation with you. Do you have like any final tips on like compensation and like how to get the best
Yeah,
out of like a tech like offer and things like that?
yeah. So number one, it's not all about money, but it's money for some. So you need
Okay.
to determine where you are in your career. So are you at the point where you are optimizing for money or you are optimizing for experience? So you need to be very clear on that. And then you need to see what is your peace of mind. Is it more money or is it more vacation days? What gives you peace? Look at that. I think that should help you in compensation. Compensation is not just about money. So depending on where you are in your career, maybe you should be looking at experience more than just money. So yeah, you should be self-aware.
Okay.
Oh,
Someone is asking in the comment section, what are some of the things to do to stand out in the industry such that you are in demand?
okay, I think you can also be doing things people don't like doing. That's one way.
By that, what do you mean?
So for instance, I don't think there are a lot of, how would I put it? Hey, I have to be careful before I go and say something and I go and lock myself. Okay, some of the things to do to stand out in the industry such that you will be in demand. I think you should be able to solve your problems very well. If you are solving your problems very well, I think you leave a trail wherever you go. Because I remember I had worked at a certain place, and then someone recommended me for some role, and they
Mhm.
just called me up, did some interview here and there, and then the offer was ready. I remember, yeah, that was like that 20,000, and then I just wanted them to add some 5,000. They didn't want to, so I had to
Mhm.
pass on that one. So yeah, so wherever you go, I think you know that you are building something like a trail. So
Mhm.
if you mess up somewhere, it can bite you. It can bite you in the future. So if you've
Yeah,
messed up, you should find a way to make sure that your next client becomes happy, because you
obviously.
never know when you can meet where you get recommended at a certain place where you are not even aware. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. All right. I don't think anybody has anything more to ask you. So, yeah, any final words before like I wrap up this whole thing and then you go face your backlash for like the bunch thing the bunch of things you said. So, yeah.
All right. So
Yeah,
yeah, so I think just have fun with whatever you are doing. I mean, at the end of the day, we are all hustling to make sure our family or loved ones are catered for. So try and have fun while still making your money, and you should also be self-aware of where you are in your career and what you are optimizing for. So once you are self-aware, I think it can help you go a long route. Yeah.
yeah. All right. I don't know, but do you have any questions for me before like I end this whole thing? It's a bit
Yeah, 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 yeah.
unconventional for you to be asking
Yeah,
me
yeah. I
questions.
like,
Like I'm just,
yes, yes.
yeah.
There are sometimes you are so calm on Twitter, and then there are some days you are in your element. You tweet certain things, and then I'm like, what?
You
What
know
what
what?
what goes on? Like what goes on?
You know what? I'll actually get into your DM to answer that. So yeah, guys, thank you for watching. It's been a
All
fun
right.
time. Hopefully, I'll see you guys next week in another episode. Bye bye. Wow.